That's the main. And then news, already talked that we are officially a cloud native CNCF. I think these are called community groups, and this is a chapter which is virtual, and this is the main page. And then I created like weekly. This is how the system works with Bevi. Every meetup will be individually, but it auto generate them all. I didn't know I was going to do that, so now if I have to edit something, I cannot edit it in one place. Like for us geeks that are software people, right? Like you want to edit something in one place. But anyway, it's there, and then yeah, you can share it. You can RSVP to join. You can join. What else? Logo. If you are a designer or you know a designer that wants to contribute to CNCF, I want to improve the logo. Let me know. That's the best I could do. Kubernetes logo and a book. So I think we can start with the book. So last time we discussed, I think in this section in here, last time we implemented the controller, and it went over all the pieces. Basically, we are implementing a cron job controller that spins up pods on a schedule with a cron syntax. And one feedback I had last time is sometimes difficult to copy paste from here. So if you go to the book, I think it's called Test Data, or it's under the book project. You can get the whole, this is Kubernetes, I think docs, book, source, and then cron job tutorial. And this will have the full code, and you can copy paste from there. So that's what I did. So if you look for test data, the project internal, this is our cron job controller. So we did, and it has like the inlines. It's very good. I don't know if this is showing very well, but it has the section of the reconciler function. It has the information about the steps. So we did 1, 2, 3, and I think the last portion we also did. And I found an issue when I tried to compile it, so we have time. So check if we're suspended. So you can suspend like the controller to stop doing jobs or delete jobs because if you want to debug. So that's actually very useful. More controllers should have something like that. Calculating the next schedule, we did that. And then I think what's the setup? That's the last thing we did. So I copy paste all this, but there was something that got added. I think I'll show it now in VS Code. So I'll go, and this is VS Code running in that dev environment. So it's easy to just get an environment. You don't have to install anything in your computer. Just use the dev pod, and then that runs VS Code and everything, and Kubernetes and everything that you need. So if we look for the cron job controller, it used this library cron to parse the string, right, to convert it. And the code had this entry here. So if you when I try to compile it, and then again, if you are an expert in Go, please help us, because I'm not. So we're doing it wrong. So yeah, I'm not an expert in Go, but I try to emulate what happened to me, and this is in my main branch, so you can copy it, but it's the same thing. I'll remove it from the go.mod, so something like this. So the book doesn't. The problem is the book doesn't have those instructions, so it never in here said that it added something that you needed to add. So it did the make manifest and make install, and it failed. So even make run. So I'll do a make just to compile it. And as you can see here, I don't know if you can see this line. It says go get github.com rob fig cron. And it had like not generator, like you got an error. I mean, I don't know if was this the same, but I got a similar message saying like my gut mod was missing that line. And I did a go get, but I also was looking at another environment from another person that had a dev pod, or not dev pod, but like GitHub, what is called GitHub code spaces, using the dev container.json that we use, dev container.json. Let me bring my pointer to see if that's that's not.
Is your local pod up to date with what's in your branch? Because I did a pull up to your latest, and I just did a make, and it built for me.
Yes,
no
I'm doing it. I'm trying to show the error for people that don't have it.
Oh, got it. Okay.
I already fixed it last week.
Okay.
I'm trying to get my little red circle because I'm highlighting things. I don't think people can see it. So 1 second. I think it's Control S. Yes. So so what I did was to, if you pull mine, you won't have this error. But if you get into trouble, just to also we do this thing here, like teach you how to fish, right? So you can do that. But I also saw someone that using tidy, and I see it in everywhere. So you can do go mod tidy instead of go get or get install, and then that did also a cleanup. It went over all the source code and any direct dependencies it added to the top, and then any indirect dependencies added to the bottom, and then anything that was not used, it got removed. So it actually like it tidy up. I got that mod. So don't do the go get, do go mode tidy, and that would help you that. So in my case, as you can see, actually added in 2 places. Oh, added in the second place. Anyway, it should be fine still. And then you do make, and then it's fine. And then it runs. I just wanted to show that. Let me check that. And if you want it, you can put it there. What was the other thing? So the next step was running and deploying the controller. So if people are a little bit lost, at the beginning we did the quick start, which was like run these 3 commands, and then it got it running. This one took longer because we're building it. So make manifest, we'll build the manifest files. Let me bring, I don't know if I can put this on the other side. I will do it next time. So make manifest type manifest copy from the book. This will create your CRDs, and where is it? CRD basis. So this is our CRD. So it's building the manifest CRDs with all the information that is here. And one thing that it didn't explain in the book, well, it did, but I put it in the Slack for people to read on. Read these sections in here that I put in the book at the bottoms: generating CRDs, markers, and config code generator, CRD generation, validation, and processing. This one explains the markers. So basically, that's the helpful thing of KubeBuilder. It has this marker that start with // and // plus is a code generate thing that other controllers use. They don't use KubeBuilder. Like I was looking at a controller this week, trying to remember which one it is. I think it was the API gateway. I think for the for AWS, and or it was a AWS load balancer, one of the two. And they don't use KubeBuilder, but they use // plus to actually help you generate the stuff, generate anything that you want in Go. So this is the piece that I wanted to show. Like, for example, validation that we were talking about in 128, right? You mentioned that 128 we have, well, I mentioned it, validation, but also like cell expression. These things has like validation things that you put in the fields, and that's what gets translated into something like here, right? The validations here, this controller doesn't have them, but if they have validations, we'll put it here. The same thing, it will put the type if it's an array. I don't know if it has any validation. This one doesn't have it, but the idea is it keeps you away from, and you should be staying away from editing the CRDs manually. Like, everything should be code generated. If not, like, this is a massive YAML file to follow up and open API v3 schema. So read those sections. It will make a lot of sense on this, following how the validation works, how the CRDs get created. So I put the sections. There's a lot of things in the reference, but this one is helpful for this section. So the compile error got run, and then let's run an example. So let's go back and make install. So yeah, I have Kubernetes running. I have kind. So if I do k get pod -a, and actually have a another version. Yeah, I'll deploy it again. So I have Kubernetes. When I run make install, this one only doesn't install the container or the controller. It just installs the CRD. Like, it goes through, as you can see here, it checks that you have customized install. And in the make file, I was reading more of the make file. The make install basically is doing a customized build config CRDs. So it's just applying the CRDs using customized, including the patches, but we're not doing the webhooks. And that's it. Now, if you want to check, you can do k get CRDs. I shouldn't have that many. If you do CRDs, maybe in your cluster you will get a long list. In this case, Kubernetes don't have any CRDs, right? So that's our CRD: cron jaws batch tutorial KubeBuilder.io. So if you're following along and you made it this far, I think well, the next section, we'll deploy it and run it. You should feel proud and put it in Twitter and LinkedIn. I developed put in your resume. You can build a controller. So that's the install. Webhooks, we're not doing. Let me see where it talks about webhooks. Oh, because I skipped the webhooks. I don't think we'll have time for the webhooks. We can come back to the webhooks. But I just wanted to get this thing like running before we talk. That's something that I think the book should have done. Get you to implement the controller and then use it, and then talk about webhooks, because webhooks could be optional. And webhooks, as more cell features are added to Kubernetes, then less stuff that you have to do in validation webhooks. And mutation, if you don't have anything complicated, it should be like defaulting in the CRD. So maybe you don't have any for a webhook. But I just wanted to get this running. So make manifest, make install. In here it says to do enable webhooks false if you have the webhooks, but we don't have them. And then make run to run it. So we're going to run it in our like system in the host, but the CRD needs to be there. So ours is not going to be running in the pod. So let me show you something. So right now I have it here because I did on deploy. So let me do a make on deploy so people don't get confused, because there's one in there, but it's actually failing. So make on deploy would just on deploy everything. Let me see if it remove the CRD. To remove the CRD? Yes. So let's install the CRD again with make install. And then we have the CRD. Let me put this on the top. This time I'll figure out how to do the terminal better. So we have our CRD, but there's no, our controller is not going to run in the cluster. The things that are running in the cluster are like core DNS, like regular things. And then what we do is make run. So that's how you run the controller. So as you can see, it's doing a go run.cmd main.go, and our controller is running and is waiting for work. So let's see if we can deploy our so our controller is running, CRD is there. I'm going to open another window. Let's see, open another window, and they have here a example of our cron job. So this is the, and they didn't put that in the, they should have put this in the book at the beginning. I'm just commenting if I wrote the book. I didn't write the book, so the book is perfect. But I like to give people like, this is what you're going to implement. Let's work on creating and control to satisfy this design, right? I start from the design of like, what is the CR is going to look like for the person who's going to give me the CR and their ergonomics. And then this is the API. So this is a cron job that is going to run. If you look for the website cron tab, it would give you like it runs every minute. If you have passed a minute, then that's the deadline to run. It would allow to run another job in another minute. So it would check if the job is running, it would allow it to run it. And then basically the job is, I'm going to run a pod, and the pod, this is the job template spec. And the thing that the controller has that they didn't explain is how they can include a spec and be a pod spec and make sure that it's valid, because a pod spec has like, what is it, like 40 options, right? The specification between probes and volume mounts and also, you don't want to have re-implement the specification to check that all the things are there in your controller. So in the Go code, they actually use the Go runtime and the types and the API machinery to say like, this is a reference to a pod spec type of thing. And there's also other projects like Knative. We do doc typing. So that's the pod for the spec, and then let's create it. So I think I already have it in here. So it's under samples in here. In the samples, if you started with thing, oh yeah, I don't have the whole thing. So my other branch, I have it. So I'm going to grab it from here, or just click the copy thing. And this is what they have like to do. And I was like, to do what? So this is the spec that I'm. For a while, I was working with the Go code. I don't know if Eric had this situation. I was working with reading the source code of the controller and trying to figure out what it was trying to do. And actually what it was trying to do was going over a request for this YAML. So having the YAML is very good to see that it's checking the schedule and these fields and the spot spec, and then creating a pod with this. You will see that in the code. So let's deploy this YAML. And I'll do a kubectl create, and then I should have it. Let me see if it shows you to list it. Yeah, you can list it. So in here, I'm listing it. This is the API, our API group, cronjob.bash tutorial kubebuilder.io -o YAML, and this is the YAML that we put. And then it did a kube get job, so there's no job, so it's waiting for that minute. So we can do what we can do. Clear. Actually, we do a pod spec or we do a job. Maybe we do a job spec, which this is a spec for a job, and then this is the spec for the container pod. I think it's just taking this and putting it into a job, and then the spec of the job, that's the job template. Yeah. So let's run it again. What is it? Get job. There you go. So we should see now every minute. So if we do watch kubectl job, Now it's already running the second one. So that's basically what it's doing. It's doing this cron job and then running this spot that says BusyBox hello from Kubernetes. So cluster. So if I open another one, get pods, there's pods in here. Okay, logs, I don't know, the logs of this one should have that line. There you go. Hello from Kubernetes cluster. To actually get the data stamp of this, no, I'm just kidding. You can get it. Do you know this, Eric?
Sorry, I stepped away for a minute. What are we doing?
How do I get the timestamp of the logs? So you use logs dash timestamp.
I did not know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. When you're trying to debug stuff, somebody was trying to debug how long it took to download a model from Hugging Face. I cannot say that thing. It took like 3 minutes or 2 minutes because it's huge. And they were having the logs and they didn't have access to the container to change the code. It's like, no, you don't have to change your Python code to print the timestamp. Just do dash timestamps, and then you will get the log of how long it took for your app. So timestamps will give you that information.
Nice.
So that make run is doing a go run. You can also do dash bean manager, and it runs your controller. And the other thing that you can do if you're using this VS Code, which is very cool, is what happens if I want to debug something. So now we have something useful to debug. So you can find it under CMD, main.go, right? But before that, I want to put a breakpoint in my controller. So I go to my controller. Where's my controller? Now I'm blind. Controller, and let's put a log in the reconciler. Like let's say there's a line that says how many jobs and count. So let me see. I think it's log.v. This line says job count, active job. Like that one is running all the time because we didn't have time to talk about this, but I said that the controller doesn't do anything. In this case, the controller is returning a requeue to be called again because he wants to get called again to see if there's something to run. So it's using the requeue to get called again. That way, nothing have changed, but I'm calling myself to implement a cron job, right? How do you implement a cron job if nothing is changing? So let's put a breakpoint. I already have the breakpoint. Put the breakpoint here. Go to your main.go file, have it open and selected, click the button that says run and debug, and click run and debug. And then this thing will run and it will have a breakpoint in your code so you can start debugging like why my code is not running. So you're already breakpoint and you can say run it again. And then the debug console is here. So as you can see, it's printing, created a job, running, and it's running again. And it's running again, it's running again. So it's just going and going and going and stop, not upcoming schedules until it gets a call. So it got called again. But in this case, you can debug of, if you're in the breakpoint now, you can debug like your variables, right? Your things, your programmer. You can check the context, the data, actually the request that came in, the namespace. So this is the thing that we're handling now. Like I have a million things. This is the item that I'm handling now, which is our CR, config cron job sample in the namespace that, and then you can do that. So that's debugging. I don't know if that's useful. I think I showed this in the first session, but I know we have new folks. So if your code is not running, you can debug it. I'll do Control C or stop. And that's part we got. Any comments, feedback?
I actually joined to learn about. I didn't realize that KubeBuilder was going to be the focus, but I'm so happy it is. This is fantastic because I didn't even know you could actually run a CRD like locally just as a binary by itself, and that sounds like that's amazing for development acceleration. Like that's just super fast, and also this is just great for learning like how Kubernetes at its at the lowest levels how it's working. So thank you.
Oh, great. Yeah, we picked this one because a lot of people deploy and work with controllers, but I myself haven't created one for production or anything like that. So let's build one together. And we were looking for a book. We're looking for books on controllers or KubeBuilders. Not KubeBuilder, but building a controller like the basic one, and not try. I know there's meta controller, operator framework, but we wanted to get like down level of like what is the minimum, which some people use KubeBuilder and some people like they're ready to have gone through the KubeBuilder that they skip the things and they build it with something else. Some other people started building controllers before KubeBuilder. Some other people like in Knative, I'm part of the Knative community. We use our own little framework for controllers. We don't use KubeBuilder. We use Code and another framework that we created. But essentially, all come down to the same thing, right? That's the if you understand the basics, you can like work on any of those because you know what is a CRD, what is a validation webhook, what is a watch, how do you process this, how do you requeue. So that aspect, I think we're learning. So yeah, glad that you find it useful.
I look forward to the future ones. I did put in the chat just a request if I'd love to see that Bash web server.
Project. yeah.
That sounds fun.
We can do that. I think it's in Knative we have it. Let me see if it's one of the tutorials. Serving samples, and I think I have Bash in here, shell.
It's under shell. Okay.
And then script.sh. This is your hello world, basically. And your Docker file looks like this. BCBox. Here it is. Sysinit HTTPD. Right? Put that in your init tab. We port 8080. And you have CGI. Like it's the 90s or 80s. And that's a web server in Bash. So we have Scala, Go, all those things. But yeah, it's a web server. Let me send you the link.
I think I got it, but okay. We should put it in the docs too, because it's
let's put it in the docs. Somebody was interested in Bash. Sorry, I try to bring humor to tech.
Oh, it's great.
So,
hey, programming in shell is still a program. So
yeah. Anyone else? Any links? Put any links or as comments in the doc, and leave some feedback. Appreciate it. And it's okay to ask questions. So I'm very, very happy that Jesse asked questions.
I'm pesky like that. Thank you for putting up with me.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Okay, we'll see you folks next time.
Thank you for putting this on.
Thank you.